everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again. So Queen Ahmadiyyah TV presents More Than Meets the Third Eye. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, hello, Rosalind, Louise, Shawnette, Silent D, General Lovateur, Erie Black Fire, Hiram X, Flow Records, William, Howard, Iyama Bay, and everyone else tuned in. Okay, so let's go ahead and get it started, people. So I have a hello, CH464. Grand evening, Queen. I'm at work, but I'm here for it with my headset into the trolls. We can agree to disagree, but you will not disrespect the Queen or the melanated family. Thank you, beloved. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get into it. I have a PowerPoint that I have prepared. Again, we're going to be talking about the spirit guides, angels, and ancestors. Now, you know, some people don't realize they're the same thing. And as I told you, the angels that we see images of depicted with wings, that's not real, okay? Angels are your ancestors who have transitioned and who are still, walking with you and taking care of you and giving you guidance, spirit guides. Same thing as angels, same thing as ancestors, all the same things. Now, you may hear me doing this broadcast. During the broadcast, you may hear me use the words interchangeably. Okay, I may say spirit guides, I may say angels, I may say ancestors, but at the end of the day, I'm talking about the same beings, all right? These are your ancestors that have transitioned, and some of them were younger than you when they transitioned, but nevertheless, they're still your ancestors because they have crossed over into the spiritual realm. Okay? So let's get into it. Now, the ancestors are our spirit guides and angels. We are spiritual beings living a human experience. Now, we're born alone, but we do not walk alone in this world, in this life. Our spirit guides, guardian angels, they're always with us. And we have multiple guardian angels, okay, which are merely ancestors who have transitioned over into the spiritual realm. In fact, any human who has passed on might become a spirit guide to you. You see, your spirit guide doesn't have to be someone that is of your family tree, okay? They don't have to be a relative. It could be a friend, okay? It could be someone, that was dear to you in life, but they weren't related to you by blood, but they may still act as a guide for you and still give you, guidance through life, send you signals and things like that. I once saw a show where they were talking about these type of things, and there was a guy whose roommate named David had died. Okay, now, so David passed away at an early age. And then when the girlfriend of the roommates got pregnant, the roommate was sitting at the computer one day, and the name David just started popping up all over his computer. Now, this was all recorded. It was just popping up all over the computer, right? So clearly David, though he passed on, he was trying to give him a message. So then when the child was born, the child would walk through the house when it was old enough to walk. It would walk through the house, and the dog that was so fond of David and that used to always jump up on him, the dog started doing the same thing to the baby that it would do to David. And so they felt like, and I don't know if this is true or not, but they felt like that David's spirit was in the child. Like he had come back in the child, like reincarnated in their baby. That's what they felt. And then, sometimes things like that happen, right? And there were other things that happened that reminded them of David. I can't remember the whole story because that was a while ago. But these are things that absolutely happen, okay? Sometimes people leave and they still are around us to protect us, to give us guidance, to help you through difficult times and things like that. And they send many different signals to get your attention. But some of us don't pay attention because we think things are coincidences. I don't believe in coincidences. I think that things happen for a reason. Now, how do ancestors communicate with us? Spirit guides will often enter your life by sending you signs, also called synchronicities. Now, Carl Jung defines synchronicity as a meaningful coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences, but that's what he calls it. Now, synchronicity, hold on, people. I'm trying to figure out why this is. Okay, there we go. Synchronicity. It comes from the Greek word, right? the root syn, S-Y-N, that means together. Together. Chronos means time. Okay, together in time. So it's like if you are thinking something and right as you're thinking it, the thing shows up. Maybe on TV you see it, or maybe, someone will bring it to you. You could be thinking of, let's just say, you could be thinking of eating pizza. I'm just making something up. You could be thinking of eating pizza and then someone comes to your house with a pizza. Something like that. Or you could be thinking about someone and that person calls you at the same time that you're thinking about them. You could be sending someone a text and they send you a text at the same time. I have a friend, we do this all the time. I'll be calling him and then he'll be calling me at the same time. Synchronicity, all right? These are the things that the ancestors, spirit guides, angels will show you when they're trying to get your attention. Now, spirit guides could also communicate with you through numbers. Now, before when we spoke about numerology, I told you about angel numbers. When you see pairs of numbers, triple numbers, right? 4 of the same number. You may see ones. Ones is especially an angel number. Okay? If you see sequences of numbers, period. 111. All right? That's a sequence of numbers. That's an angel number. Okay? 444. If you see your birth dates, like mine is 227. I see 227 often. Okay? You could be in the store paying for items, and the items that you're paying for may be exactly what your birthday is. Or it may be the same numbers that you've been seeing off and on throughout the week. These are your spirit guides trying to get your attention most of the time. Now, or you might have a lucky number, and when you go for a job interview, your lucky number is the company's address. Something like that. These are just all examples of how synchronicity occurs. Spirit guides could talk to you by sending you musical notes as well, sending you musical messages, like a song that always inspires you, playing on the radio when you get in the car after a rough day. How many times do you get in the car and you hear the same song that you were thinking about as soon as you get in the car? Beatzilla says hotel rooms. Absolutely. That's what's been happening to me for years, says Ahmadiyyah. Okay, so now you see, pay attention to signs, because the ancestors communicate with us through signs. They're trying to send you signals. All right. They have many different ways of reaching out to you, but you have to be paying attention. Otherwise, you'll miss the message. You'll miss the sign because you'll just be thinking about it's just a coincidence. It doesn't mean anything. Now, spirit guides might send you a dream that gives you an idea about how to handle a situation, or a guide could even appear to you in a dream. Now, just remember the other day, I told you guys that the ancestors came to me in a dream about a week ago. The Native American ancestors, not ancestors that I've known in this life that I ever met, but ancestors who are, a part of my family. The natives, Cherokee natives, they came to me in a dream. And I told you all this maybe a week or so ago. And they were telling me, about the Wetiko spirit, remember? And I did a whole video on that. I had never even heard of it. The ancestors absolutely told me about it. And they also told me about some nefarious things that are in the works right now that are going on. And I'm not going to say what it is, but I'm quite sure we know about those things, right? Shots. But anyway, let me continue. Now, spirit guides even send helpful people and opportunities your way. Another form of communication that often requires you to take action regarding the person or opportunity your guide has sent, or someone put them on your radar. So let me tell you something. Your spirit guides will absolutely do that. You see, there's a very good friend that I have right now. And as soon as I noticed this person, I instantly knew in my spirit that this person is going to be significant in my life. Now, my spirit guides told me that, okay? And it turned out to be absolutely true. This person is very spiritual. They're very intellectual. They teach me different things. I teach them different things. We feed off of each other, right? And we're like-minded, have the same ideology and thought patterns and things like that. Both very spiritual people and in tune with nature, right? And positivity. Now, that's what I'm saying. Your spirit guides will put people in your direct path that you are supposed to be in communication with. All right? I'm going to read the chat in just a moment. Okay. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. There are some practical strategies for connecting to your spirit, to your guidance squad, and recognizing their signs and their synchronicities. There's different strategies that you can use for you to better connect with them, okay? And for you to recognize the things, the signs that they're trying to send to you to get a message across. Everyone, please like and share the video. Now, part of getting more guidance from your spirit guides is recognizing the messages that they're already sending. Many times the messages our guides send are lost on us because we're so busy in our lives. You know, we're not taking the time out to think about and absorb or practice spiritual things. Okay, some of us don't even know how to, you know, get into our spirituality, which is what our ancestors did. Okay, they were more spiritual than religious. They were taught religion by their captors. That's why most of our ancestors were Christians. But prior to that, they practiced their own spirituality, right? And so that all being said, many times the messages our guides are trying to give us, you know, we just overlook it because we're too busy. Our minds are busy. You have to relax your mind. You have to meditate. When you meditate, then you're more capable of receiving spiritual messages from the universe, from the Most High, as well as the ancestors. Now, the more you watch for signs from your guides, the more you'll recognize the signs they send. But something else magical happens also. You see, as your guide sense that you are more aware of them and their helpful messages, the more they will send them to you. And this is very true. Now, I have a friend who, you know, recently has started tapping into their prophetic ability, right? Having very good intuition, you know, dreaming about things, saying things that actually happen, knowing things in advance, right? These are spiritual gifts, and the ancestors are telling you things and guiding you with these, you know, guiding you with information. And this is often how you know these things, right? But so if you're paying attention and you become more aware and more spiritual and engage more so in spiritual practices, these things that lie dormant within you will awaken. And when and as they awaken, the ancestors feel free to give you more information because now they know that you understand what they're doing and that you understand that they're trying to connect with you and trying to give you information that you can use in your daily life. Okay? Now, start a spirit guide journal. And this is interesting because the same friend that I'm talking about also said they were going to start a dream journal, which I advise that's a good idea because I keep one as well. Because sometimes you dream prophetic dreams and they may not happen right away. So you want to write them down because they may happen later, you know, and then you'll have a better understanding of why you had the dream. And then also, sometimes our dreams are merely pieces of a bigger puzzle of something that's going to occur. You may not have the whole puzzle figured out yet, but it could be like a small piece to it. So you want to write it down. So when the other pieces fall into place, then you have a record of everything and you can start piecing it together and deciphering what the dream actually meant. Now, get a special journal and devote it solely to increasing communication between you and your spirit guides, i.e. your ancestors. This is a sacred place where you can write your guides a letter and ask them for assistance in a specific way. Some people have altars in their homes where they talk to the ancestors, right? And I know that they tell you not to talk to the ancestors and things like that and all kinds of things, but that's what our ancestors did. And if you pay attention, they've actually shown you this in subliminals. If you remember in the movie Black Panther, when King T'Challa went into the dream realm and he was speaking to his father, that was the equivalent of you talking to the ancestors. That's how they depicted it to you in the movie, but they were clearly drawing that from our African ancestry and our ancestral practices. Now, while your guides know you and your life very well, it can be powerful to use your free will to ask for help and guidance. You can also use this journal to record any important signs they may send. Now, write your guides a letter at the beginning of the week and express gratitude for a sentence or two about anything in your life that you think they have recently helped you with. If a guide is always offering you help, taking your career to the next level, they might be serious and motivated. Yet another guide could be playful and always send you humorous guidance, encouraging you to lighten up and enjoy the ride. You have different guides. As I told you, you don't just have one, you have numerous of guides. And these are people, like I said, who've transitioned on. And some of them are there for you when you're going through stressful times. Some of them will be there for you when you're going through a situation where you may be sick and you need encouragement. You may be depressed. You have different guides for different reasons. And that's why they talk about angels, and they talk about all the different angels. And that's what they're talking about, because you have different guides and guardian angels who surround you and walk with you, and they help you through different things. And some of them are there just to make you laugh and give you, make you feel lighthearted when things are not going so well. Now, practice energetically releasing an issue to your guides, perhaps just temporarily. Try to quiet your mind instead of strategizing and worrying so much. Use a mantra like, I'm surrendering this issue over to my guides to see what they can do. Okay, that may be something you want to say. That's just an example. You can say whatever you choose. Now, everyone has intuition, and everyone can with study and practice be able to use it. Now, there are actually 4 main intuitive pathways that you can play and develop. And let me tell you something. Everyone absolutely is intuitive. The thing is, many people don't believe in it, or they think it's something wrong with it. And so therefore it lies dormant in the mind, in the brain. But until you enlighten yourself, and until you waken up, and until you realize that it's nothing wrong with that, because you see, we are of the Most High. And it says in the Bible that the Most High God made us in his image. Now, with that all being said, you know the Bible is allegorical, but you have to say to yourself, if we were made in the image of the Most High, and we are the Most High's children, right? Wouldn't we have some of the same traits and characteristics that the Most High has? And the answer is yes. And as I told you, when we talk about the Christ within, or the God-like energy that you get when you raise the Kundalini energy and you enlighten yourself and open up the third eye and activate the pineal gland and the optic thalamus, when you're doing that, you're rising into your God-like self. And as you rise into your God-like self, you will exhibit more of your God-like characteristics and powers. Okay, these are literally powers, right? Like superpowers is what you could call them. And so as you raise into your God-like self, Bezilla said, you talking, Queen. Thank you, beloved. So as you raise into your God-like self, you may see that if you already had psychic ability or prophetic ability, whatever you choose to call it, you may see that it starts getting stronger. You may see that whereas you would, have premonitions ever so often, now you may start having them on a regular basis. And this is because you're rising into your Christ-like self, your God-like self. You're taking your consciousness to a higher level. You're becoming more enlightened. And even though we may have our third eyes open, you can always continue to grow, because there's always room for improvement. Now, if your third eye is already open, that gives you the ability to gain even more knowledge and to get even more of your gifts and talents and rise higher into your God-like self, because you keep elevating. And the more you elevate, the stronger all of these characteristics and all of these attributes that you will have will grow. And remember, if you don't use it, people, you will lose it. You will absolutely lose it. Now, there's a story in the Bible, in the book of Matthew, where they talk about the Lord, not Jesus the Lord, but a Lord, who owns slaves. He told his servants, as they called them, to go out into the world. And he gave each of them 2 talents, right? Or he gave them 1 talent. And he told them to go out into the world and to multiply those talents. And so it was 3 of them. They left and they came back. And the first one, he had multiplied his talents. So now he had 2. The second one, when asked what he'd done with his talents, He said he buried it in the ground and he never used it. And so he lost his talent, right? And the third, I can't remember the story exactly, but I do believe the third also multiplied his talents. I said all that to say this. If you don't use your talents, then you will lose them. If you have a sixth sense and you never accept it, believe in it, hone into it, excuse me, never try to strengthen it, then, you know, you just will lose it, right? It'll be useless for you. And as we are engaged in spiritual warfare, you need to be having all of your spiritual tools and weapons so that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Okay, so this is why I do this channel, because in spiritual warfare, we need to be ready for battle. And the main part of the battle is done with the mind. That is why it is imperative and important to rise to your higher self. All right. You want to do this by drinking plenty of water, distilled, purified spring, not tap water, alkaline water. You can make your water more alkaline by squeezing lemon juice into it. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice. Now, with that all being said, eating a clean, healthy, nutritious diet, trying to avoid GMOs and things that have chemicals and that are unhealthy. One way to know if foods have chemicals in it, look at the labeling. If the ingredients have long words, like almost 10 letters or more long, quite naturally, that is usually going to be a chemical, right? And with that all being said, make sure you eat a healthy, balanced meal. And if you do eat meats, then make sure you're not eating fried foods. It's best to eat baked foods, right? So just keep that in mind, because you want to be as healthy as you are, because that way you strengthen your abilities and you help your talents, your gifts to function at a higher level. Now, you can hear gentle voices in your mind. If you can hear gentle voices in your mind speaking to you, that's called clairaudience. Clairaudience. Now, you can see guidance as images in your mind. That's called clairvoyance. Now, I can do that. I've always been able to do that. So that's clairvoyance. Now, also, you can know guidance as breakthrough thoughts or mental downloads. I also have those downloads from the universe, downloads from the Most High. That is called claircognizance. Okay? Or you can feel guidance as energy, emotions, and physical sensations. I also have that. It's called clairsentience. All right? Like people who are empaths, they can actually feel other people's energy, feel other people's trauma. Like when somebody is stressed out, they feel stressed out. When someone is sad, they feel sad. That's why I don't like being around negative people, because I absolutely absorb their energy like a sponge. I like being around upbeat, happy, optimistic, positive thinking people. Spirit guides are of the spirit world and have a power ability to ground you in your own spirituality or to help you discover it. Some people may not know how to be spiritual, how to engage in spiritual practices. You may not even be sure what it is, but your spirit guides can help you get through those things. They can help you by, putting information in front of you, right? Getting you curious, giving you the influence that gets you curious to learn about these things. I've always been spiritual. When I was younger, I was always into things like telepathy, telekinesis, they called it extrasensory perception at the time, right? So I was always into stuff like that. That's just the facts. My mother used to call me a little witch, okay? Because I could speak things and they would happen because I just knew things in advance. Now, develop daily, monthly, or weekly or monthly spiritual practices. Now, those of you who know me, who follow me for a while, you know that I always do full moon rituals. Okay, every time there's a full moon, I do a full moon ritual. Now, having regular spiritual practices like drawing an oracle card every morning for inspiration, taking a meditative yoga class once a week, or attending a spiritual gathering once a month with other people will create more intimacy with your spirit guides. Okay? And I think I'm going to start having a weekly meditation class for my moderators. I think I'm going to start doing that once a week for my moderators. Now, Do something in the next few weeks, like a new moon or a full moon ritual, to create more regular spiritual practices in your life. And if you think about the word spiritual, I told you before, if you think about the etymology of the word spiritual and then you look at the word spiritual literally has the word ritual in it. Did you ever even notice that? Spiritual and ritual absolutely go together. So when you have some of these Christians who tell you you're not supposed to be performing rituals, well, you tell them that they, in fact, need to be quiet because they actually perform rituals themselves in church, and it's called communion. Okay, they have a ritual in church where they say that they're, drinking of the blood of Christ and eating of his flesh. And what you ask me, that's satanic, because why would you be mimicking cannibalism, which is clearly not of God? It's clearly an abomination. And so that is a ritual also. Now, a ritual can be good. It can be nefarious. It just depends on what type of person you are. But if you want to do a ritual to help your spiritual self, to make you rise more into your godlike consciousness, then you want to practice rituals that are, good for the soul and for the spirit. That's why the word ritual is in the word spiritual, because the two go together hand in hand. And that's why I do full moon rituals, because we get amazing energy from the moon. And depending on what moon we're in, we get different types of energies. And those energies can be harnessed and they can be used to energize you, to enlighten you. And if you deal with stones and crystals, you can use that energy to recharge your crystals. You can also recharge your crystals in the sunlight, but I like to do it when there's a full moon as well. Now, you can also make a list of some of your most important spiritual beliefs. For example, you may have a strong belief that souls live on after the body dies, which I absolutely believe that. Or, feel closer to spirit whenever you spend time in nature. I also do that. I told you, I love to hug trees. I love to go to the park or out in the backyard and take off my shoes and ground myself. I like to stand in flowing water like a spring, bare feet, and let the water roll over my feet. That's grounding yourself, putting yourself in tune with nature. Okay? Because we are spiritual beings. Everyone, let's get the lights up, please. Like and share. Now, you can make a formal prayer or blessing, or you can simply tell the ancestors what you need in your thoughts with a brief sentence or two. Okay? You can speak to them. You can ask for ancestral healing. You can say ancestral healing prayers. You can just write a note about whatever you need or want. The ancestors are spiritual guides, and they are absolutely here to help you. That's why they're in the spiritual realm. Okay? Now, humans have been using divination tools to communicate with spirit for as long as humans have been around. Oracle cards, tarot cards, runes. There are many divination tools. Try different methods and see what works best for you. Well, I'm going to tell you like this. I don't use tarot cards. I use the regular playing cards. The regular playing cards that you may play spades or bid whist with. Those cards represent the universe. I told you the 4 suits stand for winter, spring, summer, and fall. There's 52 cards that you use. You take 2 of the cards out because there's 54 initially, and you're only going to use 52 of the cards. Well, guess what? There's 52 weeks in a year, right? So with that all being said, these cards absolutely represent the universe, and everyone is born under a particular card, and that's how you can tell the person's personality and traits. Now, before you work with a divination tool, take your cards or anything else in your hands and hold them for a moment, closing your eyes and taking a few deep breaths to center yourself. Then silently ask your spirit guides to send you a helpful healing message through this tool. Whenever I'm doing a card reading, I always hold the cards in my hands for at least 2 to 3 minutes, and I pray over the cards, and I ask for guidance that the cards, that I give the right reading, and that I give something positive and something beneficial to the person I'm doing the reading for. Now, you're always connected to spirit. If you're feeling disconnected from spirit, don't worry. You have a connection to spirit and always will. Your spirit guides are there working on your behalf behind the scenes, and you may not know it. Now, whether you sense them or not, this is what they're always doing. Sometimes it's during the most challenging times in our lives that we can feel disconnected from spirit. Yet this is when spirit can and wants to help us more than ever. Because that's the time that you need it. When you feel so disconnected and you feel like you're all alone and there's nobody there for you, that's when people tend to get depressed, when people sink to their lower selves, and they just, are having a lot of chaos and pandemonium going on in their life, and their mind can't get quieted because it's all too much going on. Now, spiritual leaders, as you can see, oh, you know what, people? You all know what? I'm sitting here and I didn't even share my screen. I do apologize. Hold on, people. I completely forgot to share my screen. I made this PowerPoint for you all, not for me. And I just happened to look up and realize it's not even on the screen. I do apologize. So let me put it on there. I'm not going to go back on what I've already covered, but let me put it back up here. Okay. All right. So you're always connected to spirit. Now, if you're feeling disconnected from spirit, then don't worry. You have a connection to spirit and always will. And your spirit guides are there working on your behalf behind the scenes, whether you sense them or not. Sometimes it's during the most challenging times in our lives that we can feel disconnected from spirit. Yet this is when spirit can and wants to help us more than ever. Because like I was telling you, these are when you're going through trying times and you feel alone. You feel like nobody's on your side. The whole world is on your shoulders. That's when you need your spirit guides the most. And they will absolutely be there to help you through. Now, spiritual leaders, and as you can see, there's a picture of me because I'm plugging myself. So spiritual leaders, when you're going through big changes, it can help ground you to feel connected to your spirituality and your spirit guides. Watch a documentary or a movie with spiritual themes. Something like The Secret would be good, right? That's inspiring. Now, listen to a podcast by a spiritual leader who resonates with you. That would be myself. So you can read an uplifting and inclusive book about spirituality for 20 minutes every night before bed. I suggest listening to Queen Ahmadiyyah. All right? Plug. Everyone, let's get the lights up. Now, your spirit guides very much want to have a closer relationship with you. As you open up to and attempt more communication with them, you may be pleasantly surprised by how many messages that you noticed. Your spirit guides already send you so many messages. But as I said before, many a time we don't catch the message because we're not paying close enough attention. We just think it's just a coincidence that I keep seeing the number 333 or 444, 111, or I keep seeing my birthday every time I go somewhere. We just think those are coincidences. We think that if we're thinking of someone and that person calls us as we're thinking of them, we think that's a coincidence. These are intuition, and these are also spirit guides. Now, start recognizing the communication that's already happening. And once you start recognizing what's already happening, more communications and more messages and signs will fall into your life. The spiritual guides will start giving you more information. Absolutely, Jill. Nothing is a coincidence. Everything's happening for a reason, and they're trying to reach out to you and showing you things. So start recognizing your spirit guides, i.e. your ancestors. These are your guardian angels, and they're there for your protection. They're there for your benefits and for your guidance. Okay? So with that all being said, that concludes this presentation. Now, I hate that I didn't show you all the entire PowerPoints. All right? Clearly forgot to show it. So 9 is my favorite number, says Ahmadiyyah. 9 is the number of completion. 7 is my lucky number and my favorite number. Melanie Bronson's got telepathy. Queen, sometimes I listen to sound bath meditation. You know what, CH464, beloved? I listen to it too. And listen, here's another thing. I'm glad you brought that up, because just last night I was telling my friend that I'm going to start one of those meditation channels where you can listen to like running water, Native American music, meditative tones, and those type of things. I'm going to start one of those channels. Louise says, awesome presentation, Queen. Thank you. You're welcome, beloved. Thank you. So thank you, Queen, for your enlightening us. Well, thank you, beloved, for watching. They all mean something. Numerology is deep. Yes, absolutely. So now listen, as I was saying, I'm going to be putting up one of those meditative channels, so you can listen to like the sounds of the rain. You can listen to the Native American flute music, which is one of my favorite because that's my ancestors. And just listen to sounds of nature. I'm going to be doing that very soon because I just thought about this last night. And so I'm going to start putting that together. Okay. Eon says, good. I listen to frequency to sleep. Absolutely. So with that all being said, I hope you all enjoyed the presentation. Don't forget to tune back in at 6 p.m. for your daily vitamin. Now, don't let ScrewTube fool you by putting up false times. I'm going live at 6 p.m. Okay? With that all being said, I hope to see you all right black in the chat. Enjoy the rest of this lovely day. And until next time, Royal Family, I will talk to you all again soon.